Okay, Mom, I have all the stuff here to show you, and I'm going to try to not make this video long because I tend to rant. First things first is the eggs. I know the lady in the video you were saying was saying for them to be farm fresh eggs, but unless she has 50 to 80 chickens where she can at least collect 40 eggs in one day and quickly glass them, you can't do that. I have maybe, like today I collected 15 eggs. Yesterday I think we had, I can't remember if it was 13 or 15 eggs. So, but one of these jars, like in this one I put 45 eggs. Now some of them are smaller. I think at the beginning I was putting 40 eggs, but like this one is one of my smaller eggs. So, and look, it's already a little bit cracked. So if I glass a lot of smaller eggs, then I can fit more eggs. But I'm not going to get 45 eggs in a day. I don't have that many chickens. It takes me 3 or 4 days to collect enough eggs to glass. So I just save them. Now I separate them. When you look at the eggs, you just kind of look around, make sure that there's no dirt, mud, poop, anything that's going to, see, like that one is especially poopy, that one is poopy, that one is not too dirty, but this one has like a smudge. So these are the ones that I keep on my counter, and eventually they make it into my fridge, or I just cook them. I'll wash these. If I'm going to cook them straight from here, I'll wash the egg like right before I'm going to use them, so that none of this gunk gets in the food. But for the most part, they stay like this until I'm about to use them. I don't wash eggs unless I'm about to use them, or unless I'm going to give them away, and then I tell people I wash them. Now with you and Angela and Christina, since y'all understand the whole bloom thing, I don't necessarily wash them. But like I told Angela, if she wanted to wash them, she could. She just needs to put them in the fridge. She can't keep them out. So these are all the clean eggs I've collected, and I think I've got a little more than 30, maybe right about 30, which is not going to be enough to glass in this gallon jar. So I have this half-gallon jar. That's what I'm going to glass them in. The ratio that I do is that for a gallon jar, I do 2 quarts of water, and the hydrated lime, I use this little cup. Now the lady I watched, she said you have to use an ounce of hydrated lime by weight. So I don't go by the measurement. I put the little cup on the scale, I zero it out, and then I will scoop hydrated lime into the little cup until I get an ounce. And for this jar, I do 2 ounces because it's an ounce by weight per quart of water. So since I use 2 quarts of water in that gallon jar, I do 2 ounces of hydrated lime. For this jar, it's half a gallon. I'm going to do 1 quart of water and 1 ounce of hydrated lime. I don't know how many eggs will fit, so we're going to start counting them, and that'll give me an idea. I know that in these gallon jars, I can fit anywhere from 40 to 45 eggs. I have no idea how many will fit here. I'm going to make a cut in the video because it's already almost at 40 minutes, at 4 minutes, but I'm going to show you how I do it real quick. The first time I did it, I diluted the hydrated lime into the water, stirred it all up, put the water in the jar, and then I started to put eggs in. But when you do that, the water is very milky. Right now the lime has already settled, so you can see the eggs. But at the beginning, it's very milky water, so I couldn't see the eggs. So it was very like nerve-wracking to put the eggs down in there, not know how they were sitting. I was afraid I was going to break them. So then I saw this other lady that what she does is she actually takes the eggs. Now make sure you've got dry hands. And you start to place them into the jar. And then that way you can see what, where they are. So we've got 2 right there. Just kind of picking them out. Now these I know are all clean, so I don't have to give them a second look, but 3, and then you're gonna keep filling the jar. I've learned just by doing this that this takes 2 quarts, and sometimes that's like filling it to the brim. So I'm gonna do a quart of water here, and the eggs displace the rest of it. So the quart of water should come to about right here if I were to fill the jar empty. But once I fill it with the eggs are gonna display the water. So 1 quart should be enough for half a gallon jar. But this way I can see the eggs as I'm putting them down in there. And I know if there's gaps or if there's nooks, like right there, there's a nook right there in the middle. So that's where I'm gonna put the next egg. So you just keep filling the jar. When the eggs get to about here, just make sure that you can close your jar. Then that's where you stop. Just make sure you know how many eggs you counted so that you know how to label it. So I'm gonna keep filling this up, and then I'll come back when I have them all in. Okay, this is the jar, the half-gallon jar. We counted 21 eggs. So, I mean, that's half of the gallon jar. So 21 eggs, and I'm not liking putting them in this smaller jar, even though it's a smaller portion, so it's better to get. But if you can see, there's a lot of gaps. There's a huge gap right here of I couldn't fit an egg because it's too narrow for another egg, but I couldn't position these to where they laid a little bit better. So there's a lot of gaps in this one, and it's just because it's a tighter jar. So I don't like that. But that's okay. Okay, so 21 eggs. If they were smaller, maybe I could have fit a few more and maybe gotten some in there, but these were a little bit bigger. So 21 of my eggs fit in a half-gallon jar. So I'm gonna do a quart of water, and Noah's gonna scoop in some of the, take the lid off, hydrated lime. So we're gonna do 1 ounce by weight of hydrated lime to a quart of water. No, my amor, you've got to turn it on first. Now weigh the cup, zero it out. Now with this spoon, scoop a little bit at a time. Don't make it too much, because then it'll fall out of the jar or the little cup. Just kind of plop it in there. It might take you like a few scoops to reach 1 ounce. Don't make it so tight. That way it's easy. It comes out easier.
Quarter of an ounce. 35.
See how it's leaning all to one side? You're almost about to drop it out. Okay, that's half an ounce. We'll come back when there's 1 ounce. Okay, we've got the measurement. We can get as close as 99 ounces, which is fine, of weighted lime. And I don't know if you can see what I was telling you. It's like a really fine, very powdery consistency. So that's going to go into the water, and then Noah's going to stir it really quick. And you just want to dilute it as best you can. So you want to stir it very, very, very well. Which really only makes a difference at the beginning to coat the eggs, because then eventually it all settles like that. But it's already been dispersed, and then the solution is fine. But this is what I meant at the beginning. It gets very, very milky. In the first few jars that I did, I was trying, the water was in the jar first, and I was trying to place the eggs, but not being able to see where the eggs were laying. So I started doing it this way, where I put the eggs first, and then I pour the solution after. It's taken me a couple of tries to figure out, okay, I need this much water, because the first time I did it in too much water, and I couldn't put all the water there, so then I was missing lime in the water that remained in the cup. So I figured out a quarter is half of the amount, and then gets displaced by the eggs. So you think you got it now, or are you going to stir a little bit more?
Let me do a couple more rounds, and then I'm gonna quickly pour it in.
Okay, so he's done. Now just go slow. When you get to the neck, make sure you stir the pitcher to get the last of the lime. Make sure you leave some water in here to stir the rest of the lime, because the lime tends to settle. Slow. Did you get it on? There you go. Nope. Okay. I'm going to do this real quick and try to turn the egg. Now the lady that does this in the water in the gallon bucket, she will actually continue to add eggs throughout the month. No, papi, así no, you're gonna break it. So she continually sticks her hand in the bucket. Okay, we might need a little bit more water. If you can get, where's the water that we had? It's over there. Oh, another thing I didn't explain at the beginning is that the water that you use needs to be gassed off. So let me show you. We have these buckets, actually buckets you had given us. That bucket with water that we've been gassing off for days. See, I've got another bucket over here. So every day I fill the buckets from tap water. This water has chlorine and fluoride and a bunch of other chemicals added from the plant, which will inhibit the solution, the brine. Yeah, just enough to cover the egg. So we gas off the water. We leave it sitting for, yeah, that's good, for about 24 hours. And then, so that's the water that I use for the eggs. Unchlorinated, gassed off water. So here you can do one of two things. These jars, I just put the lid on. So that's what I'm gonna do with this one. I'm just gonna put the lid and close it tight. And then that's it. That's my jarred eggs. What we could also do is use a vacuum sealer.
Here, do you want to do that so we can show her?
No, I don't want to use the vacuum sealer because I don't know what the vacuum sealer is going to do to the water. I don't want to add pressure to the jar so that I don't accidentally crack the eggs. I've never tried it. I don't know what would happen if we did a vacuum sealed. I have a little machine that goes on top of these. So I don't want to risk cracking the eggs. But I don't think it's, I think it's fine to just put this on because that's what I do with that one. I just put the lid on. And then that's it. Just label the jar. This one's going to have 21 eggs and put today's date. And it just goes on a shelf. And they'll be preserved until you open it. Jars that I have here, most of the jarring I've done in the past few months. Because that was, in the spring, the eggs, the hens started to lay more. That one was canned or jarred in May, April. That's another May. Down here, most of them were in April. I have one that's okay, that one's March. This one I've dipped into. That one I jarred in October. And I've started to get eggs out of here because I was curious to see what the taste would be like. I've heard that you can't fry eggs because of the amount of liquid. They become very runny, but I've had no problems. I don't know if it's because it's only been half a year. Maybe if I opened them or I used some of them in October of this year, after being a year, I might notice a difference. But so far, any eggs I've taken out of this jar cook the same as if they were fresh eggs.